Welcome to this pathway on material design, one of my favorite topics because it gives you the power to make beautiful apps. You're going to learn tips and tricks to make your Compose apps more user-focused. Let's talk about material design and what it is. Material design is a design system built and supported by Google designers and developers. Throughout the years, Material has evolved, and the latest version, Material 3, enables personal, adaptive, and expressive experiences, from dynamic color and accessibility to foundations for large screen layouts and design tokens. Okay, you may be wondering, what's a design system? Well, it's a very comprehensive set of guidelines, reusable components, and styles that help developers and designers collaborate to quickly build beautiful products, using the best practices of user interface design. When designers and developers use common patterns and best practices in their apps, it makes it easier for the end users to go from one app to another on the device, and to more intuitively know how to use your app. This makes the user experience more coherent across apps on a single device. It would be really jarring for the user if the way you interact with one app is completely different than how you would interact with another app. The best place to learn about material design is on the Material.io website. This website is full of interesting information related to material design. To learn more about material design with Jetpack Compose, hover over the Develop tab, then click Android and then Jetpack Compose, where you go into more depth about implementing material design with Jetpack Compose. The resources section of this page also contains some great tools, tutorials, and more information on how to learn about material design. This includes the Reply Sample app, where you can see Material 3 in action. When you hover over the Styles button on the sidebar, you will see a list of the style systems of material design, including color, elevation, typography, shape, and more. Styles are the visual aspects of a UI that give it a distinct look and feel. In the Foundations on the sidebar is a page for accessibility. Accessibility is about designing and implementing your app so it can be more inclusive of all users. Some ways that we will make things more accessible in this pathway are through color contrast, touch target sizes, and content descriptions. When you build your app keeping in mind from the beginning that your users have different abilities, it makes your app even better and more useful to all of your users. This video will go more in depth on how to get started with material design, but I encourage you to check back and spend more time on the site exploring other topics. The great news is building with Compose means it's super easy to use Material 3. For example, there is a set of material components that are common UI elements in many apps: lists, floating action buttons, cards, and chips, to name a few. When we refer back to the Material.io site, the navigation rail has a component section that you can click into. This holds information on how these types of components are described in the material design guidelines, how they should look, and how users should interact with them. Compose offers an implementation of these Material 3 components as composables that you can use out of the box. You can learn more about this by checking out the list on the Compose Material API reference guide linked below. For example, you can add the Material 3 component Top App Bar using the Top App Bar composable. You've actually already used some of the other material components in the apps you've built, like the Button and Dice Roller app, Text Field and Switch and Tip Calculator, and Cards and Affirmation app. By using these composables, you automatically made your app more material. A fun way to see what components are available is to download the free Compose Material Catalog app on Google Play. Within the app, you can browse a catalog of different material components with previews of what they look like on the device. Material theming is an important concept to understand when it comes to customizing your app's theme in terms of color, typography, and shape. It's the idea that you can customize material design to reflect your app's brand and to ensure that your design vision is carried across the whole app experience. For example, the brand of your app may have a certain set of colors. By setting these colors in your app's theme, they can be applied throughout your app on material components like buttons, the top app bar, the text color, and all other standard UI components. We'll discuss each subsystem in more depth starting with color. You may not know how to select the right colors to build a theme. Don't worry. Material.io provides the Material Theme Builder tool, which will provide a set of colors for your app. You can input one or more colors and let the theme builder do the rest for you. When you're done choosing colors, a theme will be generated for you through the Material Theme Builder. Don't feel overwhelmed by all the different colors. You don't need to use all of them all the time. Let's break down some of the main labels you will use in your app. Primary is the main color of your brand and is used most often across the app. Meanwhile, a secondary color is optional and used more sparingly for accents. For content that appears on top of those named colors, we have a category of on colors. On primary is the color of text or icons that appear on top of the primary color. On secondary is for content that appears on top of the secondary color, and so on. Using the Material Theme Builder also helps you ensure proper color contrast for your UI, making it more accessible for your users. Appropriate color contrast is important for the readability of your content. This helps users with various visual impairments read your content. You only have to define the primary color of your app in one location in your code. Then, all components will automatically use that primary color appropriately. That gives a more cohesive look to all screens in your app when there's this consistent use of color. However, you do have full control over the colors in your app. If you did want to add a button and make it a different color than the primary, you can override the default color in your code for that specific instance. Another thing the Material Theme Builder thinks of for you is device dark mode. In dark mode, apps should use darker, more subdued colors. Here are some of the benefits. It improves visibility for users with low vision and those who are sensitive to bright light. It makes it easier for anyone to use a device in a low light environment. And it can reduce power usage by a significant amount depending on the device's screen technology. The Material Theme Builder creates a dark mode color scheme that complements the light mode scheme as well. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the color palettes for the light theme versus the dark theme. Another color feature in Material 3 is Dynamic Color, which allows the app's color scheme to be personalized based on the user's wallpaper scheme. Here's how the same app can look with dynamic color and different wallpaper schemes. Now, let's talk about typography, all things related to text. Typography is a powerful way to express the brand of your app while also ensuring that the content in your app is easy for the user to read and consume. A typographic hierarchy can help convey the importance of information on screen by using a systematic use of differing typefaces, sizes, weights, and color rules. As a developer, you don't necessarily need to understand all the details, but it's important to know how to use different typefaces effectively in your app, according to the Material Design Guidelines. On Android, the system typeface is Roboto. It was designed at Google specifically to work well across platforms for clarity and ease of reading. Here are some examples of Roboto and the different font weights available. How do you know which font style to use where? That's where the Material Design Type System helps to guide you. Material 3 defines a type scale with naming and grouping simplified to display, headline, title, body, and label, with large, medium, and small sizes for each. You probably won't use all these styles in a single app, but you can pick and choose the appropriate type scales based on the content you're displaying in your app. In the app you will make next, the top app bar here uses display large, the dogs' names are display medium, and the dog's age is body large. Next, let's talk about shape. Material surfaces can be displayed in different shapes. Shapes direct attention, identify components, communicate state, and express brand. Material has 5 categories of shapes based on the size of the component: extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large. You can customize the shape of each of these by rounding corners or adding angles to the corners. Here are examples of a shape with a rounded corner and a cut corner. You can specify the size of that corner radius or cut length either as an absolute size or as a percentage of the height of the whole component. Once you define the shape in your theme, there are certain components in your app that will automatically take on this shape. For example, buttons in text field will use the small component shape, and cards will use the medium component shape. The full list of what components map to which category are on the Material.io site. It's so cool to see how playing with the shape of components can make your app look more distinct. There are so many aspects to material design that we didn't get a chance to cover here. The guides on the Material.io site are very comprehensive, especially in how it explains design concepts to someone who isn't a designer. I always discover new things when I'm on there. In this video, I gave you a quick overview of the resources that are available to help you build great app experiences with material design. In the upcoming code labs of this pathway, you'll get a chance to implement material design in an app called Woof, which displays the pet dogs of Googlers on our team. For each dog, the app displays their photo, name, age, and also hobby. You'll apply material theming to the app by customizing the colors, typography, and shapes in the app. Next, you'll add an animation to the app so the list item can expand or collapse when you tap a button. Finally, you'll learn about how to test your app's accessibility using TalkBack and Switch Access. The Woof app will be a lot of fun to build, so let's go meet the dogs.